Just how good can Jayden Petit be? We got a expert on his game coming on today, Locked On Badgers. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. As always, thank you for being here. Grateful for your time being part of this community. Today's episode, we were talking about Jayden Petit. We have a great guest coming on. What's his ceiling? What's he like? What's the character, the journey to Wisconsin, all that and more. Let's bring on Jackyson Bazile. Man, I am so appreciative of your time, owner of Prime Fast. I want to start here. What's the relationship with Jayden Petit? How do you know him and where did that come about?
So Jaden is my cousin, man. My little cousin, not so little cousin after all. Since he's 6'4", 220 now, and I'm only 5'9". But yeah, he's my little cousin. Started working with him since he was about 6 years old.
And you're a trainer. Like that's what you do, Prime Fast. And so he's your cousin, but you're also training him, correct?
Yes, sir. I do it both. Yep, I do both, family side and then also the training side.
Is that hard to kind of balance the relationship between, yeah, I'm your cousin, but listen, we got to grind right now.
Yeah, sometimes it is, to be honest with you, because there's times I have to push him to a limit. I'm like, man, am I gonna break him? But at the same time, that's my little cousin, so I got to be careful. I remember when he was younger, man, like I used to get on him because I'm like, man, you're so lazy, you're so lazy. And as we continue to grow, like his body start changing, his mentality start changing. It's like, wow, okay, this kid is actually changing. He's listening to me. He's asking questions. So even now, as his cousin in the weight room and as his coach now, high school coach, there's a lot of time I go hard at him, bro. Like when we start lifting, I'll lift with him personally, and I'll challenge him. And at the end, he'll come give me a big hug, and I'm like, you know what? I love you, right? He's like, yeah, I know you love me. So yeah.
When did you first realize, man, this kid could be special?
I think, like I said, I think it was his going to his freshman year. Jaden was always athletic, but it was his freshman going into his freshman year, saw the amount of work he kept on putting after training. He wanted to, go in the field, run the extra routes. Oh man, we would come from a trip or something and he'll go to the gym and shoot extra shots. And, me and his dad would talk. He's like, yo, we gotta tell this guy to rest a little bit, right? Because he just never took time to rest. He just wanted to go, go, go. And a lot of people actually didn't know that about him. So that's when I realized Jaden was going to be special.
Where do you think that came from? Like that switch, it almost feels like it turned on for him. Was that something from him, someone else?
No, you know what? I think he's seen a lot of other guys work. Like the one thing I do with my business is that I've always had the young guys also work with some of the college guys. But I knew it was always in there. My wife actually asked him a few weeks back, like, where did that come from? He said, I hated when people called me lazy. And he's like, yeah, he used to call me lazy too. And he would point at me and he's like, I hated it. So then, and I guess that's when all that started changing into his mind. And then, like his mindset started changing.
Well, let's talk about that physical skill set we've talked about. 6'4", you mentioned 220.
He's 220 right now. Yep. We put in a lot of work this offseason, a lot.
What's the ideal kind of weight for him, do you think, when he gets to the college level or even for a senior year at high school?
Well, realistically, I want to see if I could, like right now, okay, he's at 220, right? I'm messing around with his weight. Can he go ahead and carry that weight on the field as far as like changing directions, what his acceleration phase looks like, what's his top speed mechanics looks like? Can he, decelerate properly? So I think during the season, I might try to get him down to like 212, 215, ideally. But right now, 220 is a weight that we're messing around with and hopefully send him to Wisconsin about, 215. I know Coach Brady up there going to go ahead and transform his body too. Once he start eating properly, obviously, dealing with high school kids, you could tell them as much as possible, hey, I want you to eat this and that. They get so caught up with training, practice, practice, practice. Next thing you know, it's 4 hours. They haven't ate anything. And then by the time they start eating junk. So really, Jaden's body is going to transform tremendously once he gets to Wisconsin.
I know you mentioned Coach Brady Collins. What were you able to meet him? What were your impressions of him?
No, I wasn't actually able to meet him one on one. When I went to Wisconsin, I saw that guy work in the weight room, bro. Like, yeah, he's the real deal. I was like, yo, this dude is the real deal. So I didn't want to go bother him, but I've seen the work he's done with Eugene, how he transformed his body this past year. And me and Jaden's dad, we talk a lot too. So he always keep me in the loop with everything that's going on with the coaching staff and with the coaches. So no, I haven't gotten the chance to talk to Coach Brady yet. But I'm going to hit him up and talk to him and stuff.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Let me ask you this, just with the physical tools. How good can Jayden be with his physical skill set? Like, what's the ceiling for a kid like this?
I'm gonna be honest with you, and everybody says it, sky's the limit, sky's the limit. Like honestly, with Jayden right now, I don't even know what his ceiling is. The Lord has blessed him with such a great opportunity. Like he could take that ceiling so high, it's crazy. I think he's barely touching that ceiling because this is, this is just me from watching him right now from a football standpoint. A lot of things that Jayden did the past 3 years were just from a physical tools, like his athleticism and everything. And now that he's actually with Coach Maragos, where Coach Maragos is actually teaching them how to, you know, read certain things in the game, like reading the defense, how look at this corner, you see what the pressure is. Like if he's pressing you, look how the pressure's on his toes, little details like that. And he's learning all of that. So I think, man, Jaden's ceiling is like, I'm excited to watch that because I can't even tell you what it is. I think he's barely touching his ceiling. It's going to be crazy to see the type of athlete that he becomes in the next 3 years or so, man. Because I know this year, Lord willing, he stays healthy. You're going to see a whole different dude.
Man, Badger fans are excited for that. And you dropped the name there, Chris Maragos, Coach Maragos,
Hmm.
working with him.
Hmm.
I want to get into that connection in a second. But just hearing you talk about that, something popped into my head. How do you keep a young star athlete with attention from every program across the country, fan bases? How do you keep someone like that humble? And obviously, that's not just a you job, but how does someone like that stay humble?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. I don't even have to do anything. His dad barely have to do anything. All that stuff was planted. The seed was planted in Jaden's mind since he was younger. He's a very humble kid. You would not even know he's a four-star athlete. He doesn't walk around like it. I have my 10-year-old son who plays quarterback. He's been around Jaden since he was a baby, dude. And Jaden treats him like his own. Like that's who those kids all in Naples area look up to. He stays so humble. And the funny thing is, he'll stay quiet. He'll keep to himself. And a lot of people think it's a lack of motivation or whatever. But Jaden is just watching. He's taking it all in and he's just as quiet as it could be. But when that football snap, he's a different person. He will tear you apart. But I don't have to say much. When it comes to being humble, I don't have to say much. And I think it's his relationship with God too.
Man, that is a phenomenal answer. We're going to take a quick second here for Friends of the Show. We're going to come back and talk about that connection with Chris Maragos, the continued
Right.
evolution of him as a receiver, and kind of thoughts on Wisconsin and how they got Jayden Petit into this class. That's coming up next with Jackyson. But first, a quick second for our friends of the show. And a quick second, as always, say thank you for tuning into Locked On Badgers again. Appreciate your time more than I could ever tell you, but I'm going to try to tell you anyway. So thank you again. Today's episode is brought to you by our incredible friends over at Game Time. I've talked about it a lot, a service I've used. If you want to get tickets, listen, in a year or two, you're going to want to get tickets to Camp Randall on Game Time to go see Jayden play. So this is the place to do it. This is the platform to do it. Get rid of the stress. Buy tickets cheaper, easier, more efficiently. It gets emailed to your phone. It is incredible, not just for sports, concerts. If you want to go to theater, Broadway, it's all over there on Game Time, the number one ticketing marketplace that I've ever used. And I've personally used this. It is incredible. Right now, let's take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONCollege, and you're going to get $20 off the already low price that you're going to find on Game Time. Terms do apply on your first purchase. Again, create the account, redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. You will not regret it. It is a phenomenal platform. All right, let's come back on here. Jackyson, I want to start with this, man. A lot of people don't know Chris Maragos is,
Yep.
Jayden's coach. What is that relationship like with you and him? What is he like as a person? Obviously, a former Badger safety that a lot of Badger fans really remember fondly.
hmm Man, me and Chris, we got a great relationship. It all happened a year ago. I actually tore my Achilles training, and and Chris was that guy. He messed up his knee playing during his NFL career and stuff. So he was that guy that reached out to me, man, to always make sure that I was okay mentally and spiritually. So then that's where the relationship started. And we met up one day and we started talking a little bit with the wives. And like, man, if we ever get the opportunity to coach together, we should do it with my background as a strength coach, owning a Prime Fast. And then I used to play DB and he used to play DB. And we both go to the same church. We both deacon at the same church. Um, so we have a great, great relationship. I have 4 kids. He has 3 kids. And both of his boys play footballs. I have 2 boys who plays football. So yeah, it's just we have a great, great relationship.
And what is he like as a coach?
Man, Chris is a great coach, man. Like, listen, no lie, I seen this guy go toe to toe with college coaches who comes in for recruiting, like to recruit Jaden. Like, he'll go toe to toe with them on the board, start talking about offense and defense, and he knows so much about the game. It's crazy. Like, his playbook is so awesome to just sit there and watch him draw offensive plays and saying, hey, this offense could be this defense could be this offense. And I think it's such a blessing that he got to play receiver in college and then also DB. And then he went on to play special teams. So he's a jack of all trades. Like he's such a great coach, man. And the kids love him. He's very energetic, like very kind, very humble, respectful. Us coaches, he allows us to do what we need to do. He's not doesn't see himself as the head coach. And I know people might be thinking that, well, he's the head coach. He should look at himself as a head coach. No, he look at it as we're a team. If we could do this thing together, then we'll be successful.
That checks with everything we know about Chris Maragos from his time at Wisconsin. Let me go back
Yeah.
to Jayden. Physical speed. Like I think the scouting report, when you see a scouting report on Jayden Petit, big body, physical, maybe not a burner. Like how fast is
Mhm.
Petit? Is that an incorrect scouting report?
Yeah, I think it is. I think a lot of people see him, they're not seeing him as the twitchy type, the little small little receiver that's moving left and right. But when Jaden put his foot on the ground, like and accelerate, man, it's crazy. He's so powerful. Like the amount of force he applied into the ground, it's crazy. And this year, I would say Jaden probably hitting over 20 miles per hour right now or more. For how powerful and explosive he is. And like that's one thing now I get to be on the sideline with him because normally in the off season he'll train with me and then go on to his high school. Where this year I get to coach him and be in the sideline with him and talk about his mechanics a little bit. Like, okay, you got to stay a little bit lower on your stance here. Put the weight on the balls of your foot, and your shin angles need to be pointing to the ground a little bit when you explode. That way, you actually applying more force than you need to. But realistically, I think a lot of people wants to see, Jaden run about 20, 30 miles per hour. I'm just saying, over exaggerating with the 30. But the thing is, when you're running your routes, you're really running it between 15 to 17 miles per hour. And once Jaden actually get that ball in his hand in open space, that's when you'll see a whole what we call game speed. You'll see Jaden actually open up. And I actually was just talking to his dad and Coach Reed, and I said, "You guys realize Jaden has not actually run full speed since he's been in high school?" And they're like, "What? For real?" I'm like, "Yeah." And Jaden's like, "Yeah, I haven't ran full speed yet." And I think the way we've done it is every year. we kind of work on something. Like last year was let's work on the acceleration phase, right? And then now this year, he actually put on some weight where he's going to actually be more explosive in the lower body. And the weight he put on is more in the lower body part in his arms. If you look at his body, you're like, doesn't look like 220. Well, he is. Then now we're working on that top end speed this year, like learning how to open it up. Just recently, I posted a video of him running on a treadmill that my mentor Tony Villani created, who worked with guys like Anquan Bolden, Travis Kelsey, Mark Ingram, all those guys, Eric Berry. So he designed it where you could actually train indoor. Like that was his first run in the off season, and he took off. He hit about 18 miles per hour like that. And scientifically, it has proven that whatever you run with proper mechanic, you could actually take it to the ground and it'll translate.
Yeah, that's phenomenal stuff behind the scenes, man. I love it. Let
Yeah,
me ask
man.
you this. Two things that stood many things stood out watching Petit's film, but the first thing was he refuses to go down on initial contact. Like you can
Yeah.
tell there's a bit of a dog in him. Like he takes multiple people, he fights for every yard. Uh, where
hmm
where does that physical competitiveness come from? Because you and I both know there's a lot of big dudes who don't play big. He plays
hmm Yeah, he plays big, man. I think that's the part where I think people see Jaden naturally when you see him, you're like he's a very quiet, kind kid, right? But when he goes on the field, he flip a switch. And I actually seen a little bit of it in not a little bit. No, I take that back. I seen a lot of it in Noah Gray. That I actually work with in off season, and Jaden got the opportunity to work with him too, and also Chris Maragos. For some reason, those guys could flip a switch like that. Like they'll be in the weight room, and then once they, walk in, they're saying hi to everybody, smile, and then when it's time to go, it's all business, and they flip a switch. And I think Jaden already is. That's something he always wanted to work on, and he's working on it because he's seen a guy like Noah's done it. So I think all that dog is in there. But the one thing I'm going to tell him, and I think it was Jerry West who said this quote. I'm going to tell him we don't want the dog in him. I want the wolf because the wolf is eating all the dogs. Everybody that have the dogs, we want to separate ourselves from those cats.
I love it. Yeah, and you
Yep.
mentioned is there another receiver he reminds you of a little bit, either that you've worked with or that just you obviously you've seen a bunch of talent too. Is there somebody he reminds
hmm
you of?
I mean, from just watching the NFL on a daily basis, me personally, I've said Julio Jones, but I'm a huge Mike Evans fan because I'm a Bucks fan. I think he's underrated. Nobody talk much about him, but that's a guy who actually get 1,000 yards every single season he's been in the NFL. That's the guy that I'm going to compare Jaden to a little bit here, because he could go ahead and go get it himself. And Mike is the guy who's also very laid back, quiet, but when it comes to playing the game, he's a dog.
Yeah, he's a stud and consistent
Yep.
to your point.
Yep. Exactly. That's what I'm comparing him to.
No, I love that. Let me ask you
Yep.
this. We talked a lot about the physical tools, the impressive physical tools, the intricacies of playing receiver. I mean, route running, hands, getting off press. Is there something there that he's going to really focus on this year?
Reading the defense and his release point, just like you said, and fixing the little details. Like, he's 6'4", and I've always tell him like, when you're getting out your breaks, I don't want you to look like you're 6'4". I want you to think about being 5'10". And people probably be thinking like, what am I talking about? It's like he got to be able to sink his hips a little bit lower, and then also get those shoulder pads down more too, coming out of the top of his routes. And then those are things I told him. Hey, I don't. Chris Maragos will watch your routes, but as far as the top end routes, like the top end is what I'm gonna look like in your start. So those are the little details I know personally that I've taught to him that we're gonna be looking at the top of his route, obviously the start, what does his stance looks like, and if a DB, honestly, at that level down in Naples, I'm not being arrogant. I'm just being real. Good luck to any DB that want to press him one on one. That's the honest truth.
That's tough. All right, we're gonna take
Yeah.
one more quick second, come back, and I'm gonna talk about the journey to Wisconsin a little bit, and just maybe why he was the right fit from Jackyson's perspective. That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers. First, a quick second for our friends of the show, and again, a quick second to say thank you for tuning in to Locked On Badgers and being an everydayer. Hey, brother, I wanted to hit you up on this one quick. Thoughts on? I think it raised a lot of eyebrows nationally when
Hmm.
Wisconsin is traditionally not a school that's landed a lot of four-star receiver talent.
Right.
Petit in a way is blazing his own trail there. Did
Yep.
do you think did that raise eyebrows in Naples in the area that you're from that he chose Wisconsin?
Yeah, it did. I think a lot of people wanted, to know why didn't he go to Oklahoma or, or North Carolina where Bill Belichick is, or, well, we are a huge Florida State fan, meaning me and Jaden. Actually, we love Florida State, but why didn't he go there? Well, the answer to that is that Jaden wanted to create his own legacy. And we also pray about every little details that we, in this whole thing. Like he went through the process. And day one, man, when he showed up, I remember when they told me they got the offer, I was like, oh, not Wisconsin. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, nope, nope, they're not good. They're not known for receivers. What are we thinking? What are we doing? And his dad was like, look, I'm telling you, man, after talking to Coach Reed, after being up here on this unofficial visits, they will change your mindset. And I got to know Coach Reed a little bit. And I've always me and his dad, we always had this conversation. Like, if it was your son, right, what would you look for? And my answer was always somebody that you could leave your son with. And when you do leave them with them, that you're gonna get your son back as a better human being. And I think Coach Faco and Coach Reed showed that when we got the opportunity to talk to. Jaden loves people. He loves the community. Once he gets to know you, he will not stop talking to you. Wisconsin, family oriented. I went to North Dakota, so I played ball up there, so I know what the Midwest is all about. People from the Midwest are very, very friendly, so they got that. Real estate standpoint is what Jaden wanted to study. Wisconsin got the number one real estate school around, right? So they got that, and people are talking about, oh, it's cold, it's cold. We get that. Let's say it's God willing, something happen where he makes it to the NFL. What if he get drafted by a team that's in a cold environment, you know? Well, he's already used to that. So I think the you got the school, you got the people, you got the legacy standpoint where he could go ahead and create his own, you know, own legacy. Like who would not want that? Who would not want that challenge? And Jaden is that type. He will accept a challenge no matter what it is, man. He'll take it.
Man, you're only firing people up more for Jaden, and I'm only gonna take a couple more of your minutes because I could talk to you for hours, and we talked
Oh,
a little before the
we're
show.
good. We're
Uh,
good.
I wanted to ask you though, like, what were your impressions of Madison? Like, what'd you think?
Yo, Yo, Madison is like, I'm gonna be real with you. Madison is awesome. I got up there, man. We took the team, some of the guys up to Madison recently, and Coach Chris Maragos drove me around a little bit, man. And the people, the atmosphere, like I haven't even been to a game yet, man. And I'm like, yo, this town is clean, it's nice. Everybody's like, they're so welcoming, and I get it, part of college football. It's like the recruiting, people are going to treat you, the nice way and everything. But the one thing about Coach Reed is that he kept it real with us, right? He was never, and I told him straight up, I said, Coach Reed, just keep it real with me, bro, because if we're going to build this relationship, let's say Jaden goes over there, I don't want it to be all, it was just all because of recruiting. And he was able to do that, show us around. Man, I love Madison. Yeah, it's nice. It's
Let,
nice.
let me ask you this, and no, I'm certainly not gonna ask for any names or any schools, but were there schools where you felt like, man, these guys aren't keeping it real with us?
Some schools, yeah. Some people show the true colors afterwards too. Some school, I won't say any names, just like you said, but it's funny, man. I don't even know if he wants me to even say this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Like I remember Jaden played a prank call on Coach Reed to tell Coach Reed that he wasn't going to go to Wisconsin. He was going to go to a different school, and the answer Coach Reed gave him, it was like, that's a true dude right there, If for them, it felt like, okay, what could we have done differently? And then me being in this, running my business for 10 years, going on 10 years now, it's always like when a customer leaves me, I've always wanted to know what could I have done differently? Why did you leave? Was it finances? Was it something I said or done, that affect that relationship? And that was kind of how Coach Reed answered Jaden. And that right there, man, it was like, yep, we made the right decision. We did. And me personally, I was at peace after that.
That's a growth mindset right there.
Yep.
Let me ask you this. So I'm going to finish on this. And you and I talked about this a little before, but I'm kind of fascinated by your answer a little bit more. Are kids different now? We've talked a lot about how the sport has changed, NIL has changed things or hasn't changed things. You've worked with kids for a long time. I coached a little bit in the past in basketball side. Are kids different now, or is the environment different and kids are the same?
I think the kids are different nowadays. I really do. And, I've worked with a lot of athletes. Um, you know, I have a lot of them who still have a I have some of them that have a great mentality of, I'm going to work hard no matter what. It doesn't matter if mom and dad have money. I'm going to work hard to earn a scholarship. But now I feel like the majority of them is that when you talk to them, it's like, nope, you know what? You want to criticize me? You want to hold me accountable? What do you mean? Like, I can't do this and that. They start looking for another person to work with. He's too easily offended, in my opinion, nowadays. And obviously now too, what I found out is that a lot of kids will go ahead and find certain things to work on, which is fine online. They'll find it online to work on it, but then they're practicing bad habits. And as I said to you, like my little brother, for example, who's 14, that I'm working with right now, it's like trying to mentally let them realize, like, look, you could be great. It's like you constantly have to motivate them, basically. Where back then, I feel like the Jaden type or my previous athletes, I didn't have to try to motivate them. The minute they walk into that weight room or the gym, it was like, it's go time. I'm here to grind. Let's go. So yeah, I do think they're different nowadays.
Yeah, I was at a coaching clinic once, and a coach said, "Listen, I can do one of two things. I can either coach you or motivate you. You
Hmm.
decide what you want me to do." So let me
Hmm.
ask you this: do you think going forward, those players that just have that accountability, that work ethic, that character, that grind in them, whereas that used to be more common, maybe that's the differentiator going forward when everyone's going to be athletic? Who's the accountable one?
Exactly. Um, I do think that's what's going to happen when everybody's athletic. It's, are you willing to not go out tonight and spend time in the playbook? Are you willing to go ahead and tell your friends, hey, man, you know what? I got an early day tomorrow, 5 a.m. gonna come quick. Let me go ahead and go to sleep instead because these schools are investing in me, right? They're investing so much in me. So now I want to give back to them whatever they investing in me. So I think those are the kids that's going to go ahead and surpass a lot of athletes because of how much they start investing in themselves instead of, you know what, I made it to college, whatever. So now let me enjoy life. No, you're there because they see the potential in you, and you just gotta buy in and invest in yourself also in a way of I'm going to give it all I got. And I was just watching a video of Kobe Bryant talking about how when he was in high school, all these guys were ranked ahead of him, right? As they were ranked ahead of him, he had a killer mindset basically where every kid that was ranked ahead of him, he was going to find a way to destroy you when he played against you. And then when he got to the NBA, he said the NBA was easy because all those guys got paid. So then they were just having fun. He said, no wonder Michael Jordan was killing all these cats because all I got to do now is work my tail off and become the best of the best. And while these guys are just having fun.
Man, that's phenomenal stuff. Dude, we
Yeah,
could do an hour on this, but I have to be respectful of the time. Jackyson,
I
man, thank
got
you
you.
so much. Hopefully, we
Hey,
sync back up during the season at some point.
Hey, yeah, man, I would love to do that, man. And talk about the season a little bit on how Jaden's doing. I'm just praying that everything he stay healthy. That's what I'm praying for. If he stays healthy with our quarterback, who's going to be a senior himself, I wouldn't be surprised to see this dude go close to 2,000 this year.
Let's get
That's the goal. But yeah, man, hey, thank you for your time. I appreciate you having me in the show.
Nah, super appreciative of your time. on Wisconsin. Stay tuned. A bunch more content coming up as always. Really do appreciate our amazing guest today, and I'll talk to all y'all later.
All right, appreciate you.